Hey guys, it's Carolina and it's a gorgeous day outside, so I just wanted to bring you outside and talk to you for a couple of minutes. I wanted to ask you, are you an employee or are you an employeepreneur? Because there's a difference between the two, and your mindset is pretty much what makes all the difference. So I got reminded of this because I was listening to some Darren Hardy audio, and it made me think of something that I read in Danny Johnson's book, First Steps to Wealth. And if you don't have this book, I strongly suggest that you get it. It's available to download for free on her website, or you can order yourself a hard copy for like $7. So it's not that expensive, and it's a great tool to use. So, employee versus employeepreneur. So when you think of an employee, you kind of just think of someone who shows up to work, clocks in, clocks out, just does their job, as they're expected to. Or maybe like shows up late, or, doesn't care too much about their job. But when you think of employeepreneur, the mindset and the attitude is totally different, and therefore their performance is totally different. So I can tell you that I've been on both ends. I'll give you a little story. When I moved from New York to Georgia back in 2005, I got myself a part-time job outside of my home. So that move in itself was a huge difference, but going into the workforce down here was crazy because, all right, so I found this job. It was close to home. The hours weren't too bad. I mean, it was supposed to be part-time. So the pay was kind of crappy for what I was used to. I think at the time I was making maybe like $9 an hour. It was like, for me, that was crazy. But I didn't go into it with that attitude. I didn't think that that's what I was going to be making my whole life, because obviously I wouldn't have taken it if that was the case. But no, I guess I was still in my New York state of mind, and I was like, all right, I'll take it because I know that I'm worth more, and I know that my work will reflect that. So that's how I went into it, and I did my job. I did kick-ass work because that's what I've always prided myself on, like doing above and beyond what was maybe expected, or what they wanted out of me. But that was just because I had higher standards for myself. So that's kind of what you have to do. If you want to learn something, then learn it. You don't have to wait for somebody to come show you how to do it, or like tell you how it's supposed to be done. We live in the internet world. You have access to such great information that if you put it to use, oh my God, it's incredible. But at the same time, I was with this company for maybe a little over 5 years. So along the years, yeah, my pay increased, but so did my responsibilities. But along with that, so did the stress, the headache, the longer hours. I can tell you, for the first couple of years, I poured my heart and soul into this company. Like, there's tons of time that I sacrificed, like time with my family, missing out on events and stuff, because I put the company first, which, it was fine. But slowly and slowly, my habits and my mind frame started to change, and I didn't notice it because I wasn't doing personal development at the time. I wish I had been, because maybe it would have ended differently, because I got to the point where I just completely hated going into work. There were mornings where I'd be super motivated, like, yeah, let's go get shit done, let's do this, let's do that. But as soon as I would walk through that door, it was like, it was stripped, and I just didn't want to do anything. And, you kind of just let those little things get in the way, and you forget why you're there. So if I can save you the trouble and the heartache of going through the same thing, let me remind you to always stay in that employeepreneur mindset. Whether you like your job or not, I mean, if you like your job, that's only another way to get promoted to a higher level and increase your pay anyway. But if you don't like your job or you're looking to start your own business, what better way than to go into it looking at it that way instead of complaining? Because, I mean, complaining doesn't solve anything, honestly. But so many times I see people that want to start their own business or start working for themselves, and their motivation is to fire their boss. I mean, you can look at it in a good way and in a bad way. Yeah, you want to fire your boss, but is that the attitude you want to carry into your business? I mean, eventually you're going to have to work with other people. So what kind of people do you want to attract to your business? Do you want people that want to fire their boss and they don't want to work for somebody else? I don't think so. You're going to want someone who's driven and who has initiative and who you don't have to micromanage, because nobody likes to do that. I think that's one of the things that got to me. Like, I did not want to babysit grown-ass people. You know what I mean? But then I guess I kind of let myself get to a certain point like that too, because I started procrastinating and putting things off, like, oh, I'll get to it later. And yeah, no, that's not good, because now I'm trying to break out of those bad habits when I'm trying to do it for myself, you know? So what does an employeepreneur do? You take ownership. So you going to work as if that's your company. You know, the work that you do affects that bottom line. Like, the work that you do is why you're able to get that check, you know? So if you want to maybe get a raise or get a promotion or whatever, you have to show that you're adding value to that company. You know, what are you bringing to the table? How are you helping the company grow? Do you have goals while you're in that position? If you're not growing, then what are you doing? You know? Do you have to wait until your boss tells you what to do? Like, that's stuff that you have to think about. So, I don't know. Maybe you totally hate your job and you know, you're actively looking to go with a different company. That's all fine and good, but if you're going to take that same mentality into your next job, what's going to be different? So you have to start thinking of it that way. You have to become an employeepreneur. So you have to think of it as if that's your company, because ultimately it is, you know. You have the potential to help make that company grow. Whether your boss sees it or not, you do. Okay? So it all starts with you. So think about it too. Are you the kind of person that you'd want to hire? If that was your company, are you treating your coworkers the way you want to be treated? Maybe, let's say, your boss is not giving you much recognition for the awesome work that you're putting in. Are you recognizing your peers, or are you just trying to look better than them? Because even that attitude, it can only get you so far. Yeah, you might get a few steps ahead, but if you're stepping on other people's toes just to get ahead, you're not going to get very far. You can even look at it as when you're going in to interview for a potential job, are you going to dismiss the people that you're not interviewing with? I was in a management position, so I know what it's like to have people come in who are, you know, going to interview with the CEO of the company. And oftentimes, you know, you think, okay, I'm going to interview with the boss. You know, that's the big guy, so let me look good. But you come in and you give, like, no respect to the receptionist or someone else in the office. Like, who do you think you're going to be interacting with for the most part every day? It's going to be those people. So you have to treat those people with honor and respect. Not just because you're going to be working with them, because that's just the right thing to do. But it makes for a better working environment too, and you reap what you sow. So always go into whatever position you're in as if that's, that's your baby, that's your company. So who do you want on your team? Are you being that team player that you want? And maybe you're not. So you can lie to the whole rest of the world, but just don't lie to yourself. Just be honest with yourself. Look at your actions and look at your results. So if something needs to be tweaked, then hey, it's awesome because you have the potential to change that. So yeah, just a friendly reminder to stay in that employeepreneur mindset, because it'll make it that much easier when you are shifting from going to employee to full-on entrepreneur and working on your own business. You don't want to be stuck with some really bad habits that will carry into your own company. You know what I mean? So that's just something to think about. So right now, today, are you an employee or are you an employeepreneur? So thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I'd totally love to hear your comments. So thank you. Leave them below. Bye.